Hey there YouTube, it's Nick with Feeding Fitness. Today I'm going to do another part in my series of videos on why we're fat. Sorry it's taken me so long to get the second part out. I've been very busy lately. I'm going to try and put these out more on a weekly basis, but you can't hold me to it. I'm doing my best. So anyways, today's topic is going to be the overcomplication of fat loss. I feel a lot of people struggle with fat loss because they make it far more complicated than need be. I explained in the first video, which I will link in the description, about how the end-all be-all of weight loss is a calorie deficit. That eating fewer calories per day than you burn is the only way to lose weight. So that is a pretty simple concept to understand, I feel. I don't feel that there's anything complicated about that. So to take that a step further, let's explore so many of the things that overcomplicate weight loss that aren't important or are so minimally important that in the grand scheme they don't matter enough to care about. First thing I'm going to talk about is nutrient timing when you're eating. People really get caught up in this. Don't have food after 8 p.m. is a classic fitness myth. No reason to worry about that. Don't eat a certain type of food at a certain time. Stupid. You know, you need to eat this amount of time after working out or your workout was all for naught. Dumb. None of that matters. Do not let nutrient timing overcomplicate your fat loss. All you really need to worry about for fat loss is total macronutrients and calories for the day. When you eat them across the day is not all that important. And there are times where nutrient timing can make somewhat of a difference and should be paid attention to, but for basic fat loss, that's not one of those times. If you want to eat all your food in a 4-hour period of time, and that 4-hour period of time is right before bed, if it still puts you in a calorie deficit, you will still lose weight. It doesn't matter. Don't let that complicate your efforts. So another thing that can complicate fat loss is thinking that there are certain foods you can eat and certain foods you cannot eat. This isn't true. It's true to a point, but that point is the only foods you can't eat are foods that will take you over your calorie limit. So if you figured out roughly what you burn per day, and that's not all that hard to figure out with a little trial and error. And I've got videos on how to decide where you should start your calories at. I will also link that in the description below for you guys. But once you have an idea of what that is, you know how much food you can eat in a day. The types of foods don't largely matter. Now, I'm a big proponent of also tracking macronutrients as well as calories, because that can help with retaining muscle mass and making sure the majority of the weight you lose is fat. So that is going to be significant. I would pay attention to those things, but even with that being said, it still doesn't matter what you eat. There's not a single food that you can't have. No food stops fat loss. That's BS. Anybody who's telling you that is wrong. They're telling you carbs stop fat loss. They are wrong. Do not pay attention to that. You can have carbs, you can have fats, you can have whatever you want, so long as you stay in a calorie deficit, and if you want to take it a step further, which I truly encourage, it meets your macronutrient targets for the day. And I'm not going to get into the full-blown what are macros, those can all be found in the videos I'm linking. But just know that the only concerned types of foods really have are the calories and macronutrients they contain. You can have pizza, but let's be clear, pizza has a lot of calories relative to its satiation, how full it makes you, and its calories are tilted in the balance of carbs and fats. There's very little protein in pizza. So that's something you have to keep in mind, but that's not to say that eating pizza stops fat loss. It just simply does not. Workouts. These are another thing that people overly complicate. Should I do slow, steady state cardio? Low intensity? Should I do medium intensity, something like jogging or biking? Should I do high intensity interval training? Which is best? I could talk for days about the pros and cons of the different types of cardio, one versus another. And there are certain pros and cons for certain people, but the bottom line is they all work. They all burn calories. They will all help you achieve that calorie deficit. So rather than arguing which is 5% better than the other, 10% better than the other, pick the one you're going to do. If you love bike riding and you hate interval training, even if someone proves that interval training is 10% more effective, why wouldn't you just do the one that's 10% less effective that you know you'll consistently do, that provides you with enjoyment? It's stupid to prioritize efficiency over enjoyment. Now, I'm all about being efficient, but to a point. There comes a time where a little bit of extra efficiency isn't worth it in the long run. If you're just more likely to stick to one type of cardio versus another, then it doesn't matter which is more efficient. The most efficient for you is going to be the one you're going to do. So it's very important to not get worried about what exercise is better than another. Do what you're going to do. Do what you will stick with. And this goes for the method you choose to diet as well, how you choose to achieve that calorie deficit. There are millions of ways to do it. I do an If It Fits Your Macros diet where I simply track calories, macronutrients, I log it, I set goals, and I hit those goals every day. There are other strategies. People go low carb. That is one strategy to hit a calorie deficit. And some people argue it's more efficient, and some people argue that it's not. Well, once again, this goes back to what I was saying about cardio. It doesn't matter if it's more efficient, because if it is, it's just slightly. And if you can't stick to a low-carb diet, then for you, it's worthless. So do not prioritize efficiency over what you can be consistent with. Consistency is the most important key factor. If you can't stick to it, it's not worth doing. So you want to pick your type of diet based on what is realistic, what you can actually stick to. And in my experience, most people will find that flexible dieting is the easiest thing to stick to because it has the least amount of restrictions and it's, on paper, really the simplest form, in my opinion, of losing fat because it guarantees you the calorie deficit, which is the most important thing, and it allows for flexibility. It allows you to eat the things that you like to eat, and not many other plans offer that. Low carb does not offer flexibility, especially if you like carbs. It's very inflexible. You know, there are a million other different types of dieting, and it really doesn't matter. You need to pick one that you can stick to that also creates a calorie deficit. Those are the two most important things. Do not let all these other things overcomplicate fat loss. Simple. Keep it simple. Calorie deficit and consistency. Those are the two things you need to have. So that's all I'm going to talk about today. And like I said, I'm going to try and do these videos more on a weekly basis. I've got several other topics I'm going to talk about, but if you would like to see something covered, please put it in the description below, or you can post it over at Facebook at facebook.com/feedingfitness. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. That'll let me know that you guys want me to keep doing this series of videos. And do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so you'll know when the next one comes out. So that's all I have for today, and I'll see you guys next time.